Hi, this is Reb Risty, head Rebel at REBL Marketing, and welcome to this segment of Revolutionize Your Business interview. And we've got Andrew Marr with us today. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, good afternoon, Reb. How you doing? It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Life is good. So I'm looking really forward to speaking to you. You're doing some really fun things on the marketing side and business side. But first, just really quick for my audience, could you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, there's lots of ways I could do this. Most importantly, I am a husband. I am a stepdad. I'm a son. Two wonderful parents that live in Scotland. They're still there. They're bearing the brunt of the rain in the summer. But I'm a son to two parents in Scotland and a son-in-law to my father-in-law that lives with us. So that's who I am. I also own a company with my wonderful wife Amanda called Digital Storyteller.
Wow, that's probably one of the best intros I've heard. I love that. Starting with your personal. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about.
No one cares what I do, right? They don't really care.
Yes and no, but I love it. I love it. Well, so to get into our interview, there's lots of marketing topics and things going on that we could talk about. But I thought what would be fascinating is you had brought up the topic of what business owners really should be thinking about and the metrics that they should know. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so a little bit about me, right? So Digital Storyteller is a digital marketing agency and we focus on financial services companies. Now, Amanda, who is the beauty of the company and the founder of the company, does all the creative work with our team, right? Like that, she knows marketing. You should actually probably interview her sometime. It would be much better than interviewing me. I am the statistic guy, I'm the sales guy, I'm the scale guy. Like for me, it's been so fascinating through my entire life, being in different businesses and different industries and learning how to scale them and the do's and the don'ts behind scaling. Those statistics that I learned the other day in EOA were fascinating. Like 4% of businesses, total of 4%, get to $1 million plus in revenue. Only 4%. I thought that was fantastic information to understand. So when I look at our business, our most important metric is our gross profits per client, right? Okay. So, which means how much time are we spending collectively with each client per month? Now, we all have those clients that take more of our time, right? we want less of them, and we want clients that we can still provide that great amount of value to, but with an appropriate amount of time. So when it comes to metrics, that's the most important for us. And when I look at the metrics every month, we use teamwork. Mm-hmm. So we put in all of our metrics and our hours every month, and it's hard, right? Like coaching the team to put in hours is not an easy thing. So starting with that's challenging. So my role is to just make sure that I'm repeating that to them in a way that they're not like, oh God, do we have to hear this again? But in a way that shows them the importance of the metrics and how if we didn't have them, we could not scale our business or at least understand how our business is running. Right. So at the end of every month, I look through the metrics and we see our gross profits per client. And then if we need to pivot for the next month, we'll pivot and we'll communicate to those clients that, hey, we need to be spending a little more time with you, which is rare, right? It's rare to say we need to be spending more time and a little bit more common to be saying we need to scale this back a little bit because we're running over. Right. So that for us has become really important metrics to understand.
Right. No, I completely agree. I'm professional services as well, and I think that's a great tip for professional services. We also look at our client margin, and I'm looking at that not weekly, but I'm checking it to make, especially at the end of the month, to make sure that we're not running over and we're not killing our budget. So, do you feel like what's the most important thing that a business should know?
Yeah.
Whether, to do scaling or in terms of metrics.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we've noticed is that knowing the ins and outs of the exact profit and loss balance sheet is incredibly important. I know it sounds stereotypical, but or maybe even cliche, but it's amazing to me how many business owners, and this has been through my whole life in business, that don't understand profit and loss, right? That don't include whatever the owner's salary is in profit and loss, right? Like I've been around companies like, well, we've got 30% gross margins. Like that's amazing. I'm like, do you pay yourself? Is that included in that equation? They're like, no, we pay ourselves differently. I'm like, and I'm channeling my inner Jen Barnes right now, because she would say, she does, right? Yeah, like she's brilliant at that. And she would say, you have to include that to have a thorough understanding of what's happening. So I think those metrics, I think the metrics around just how much we charge, right? Like what does that look like? Like, why are we charging that amount of money for that service? And I think looking at that like every quarter is important. So Amanda and I, we sit down, and as much as it's an interesting situation when you work with your wife, right? Because, or your spouse, because you spend a lot of time together, which I think is a bonus, because we can work.
Depends on your spouse.
Yeah, I like my spouse. And I think she likes me. Maybe she's listening, maybe she's not. But the great thing is we spend a lot of time together, so that means that we can work more on the business. The bad thing is that we spend all that time together, so do we actually spend time working on the business?
Yeah.
Do we question what we're doing? Do we have those hard conversations with each other when we're saying, hey, does this actually work? Like, I know we like this piece, but does it actually work? Is it producing, first of all, the results for our clients? Is it underwhelming or overwhelming our staff, which without them, we're nothing, right? So that's a major factor in those conversations. And then 3, is it allowing us to grow the business in a way that is sustainable for everyone involved? So those metrics are important, right? Like, I mean, I get fired up for this stuff, because if Amanda,
you're getting very excited.
Yeah, because Amanda sits down and she's like, oh my God, we're working on the business again. That means you've got a million ideas. I'm like, yeah, I do. And she's like, no, yes, and yes. And to her credit, she knows it's coming. And to her credit, she knows there's going to be change that's happening. But we feel by going through those metrics and questioning, it makes us better.
Yeah. So I understand what you're doing and why. What are your customers asking you? What are they coming to you with questions on?
Yeah, great question. So we're in that wonderful financial services space, right? So very boring to many and very confusing, right? And very confusing to most, right? When you talk about CPAs, tax lawyers, outsourced accounting, HR, payroll, 401k.
The sexy stuff. That's the sexy stuff.
We love this. Who wants the new kids on the block, the Instagram performers, and who wants the biotech?
Yeah, boring.
Yeah. So their questions are always around, this is what they say to us when we first meet them. It's like, I really think I help people, right? And they do. They absolutely do. Like, but I don't know if the world knows that, right? So then the question becomes, how do I tell the world what I do? In a way that's authentic, right? Which is what you talk about a lot. Is like just being authentic, like be yourself. Like, yeah, you have to have a mainframe of things, but you have to be yourself, because that will come through.
Yep.
And when that does come through, people will notice it. You'll be walking down the street and it'll be bang, it'll hit you in the side of the head, because that's authenticity.
Yeah.
And authenticity is rare. So the answer is then, okay, we need to understand how you're helping people, like actually how you're helping people. Not just how you think you're helping people, but how you actually help people.
Yeah.
And then understanding the business and understanding their staff and understanding the growth potential, understanding where they want to go. Like, what does that exit look like, and why does it look like that? And who are the people, when we create websites, like, this, like we create websites for companies, but most importantly, or just as importantly, we create them for their referral partners, right? We create those websites for their referral partners.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, because a lot of times the clients are like, oh, we don't need to update our website, but you do. And it's not just referral partners. We talk about it's for your internal team. Is your internal team proud? Does it reflect what you guys are doing?
I love that. That's brilliant. Yeah. Exactly it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we get that question a lot. And then the other questions around social media: where should I be? What should I do? Should my voice be the same on Twitter as what it should be on LinkedIn? The answer is no, but what does that mean, right? Like, what does that mean for them? And who are they trying to attract? And what are their goals around that? I mean, you know better than most that the digital space right now is fascinating because we're all glued right here and here for the majority of our days.
Yeah, I say we went from the digital world, we are now living in the virtual universe. I mean,
I love that.
Yeah, it's nonstop and it's great. There's so much opportunity. And I love the authenticity part. You know, a good example is people or clients will come to us, should we have humor in our, you know, should we do humor? I'm like, well, are you funny? You know, so.
You know what I love about you doing that is that you're really trying to find the voice of that client, right? And we're very aligned on that mindset. We find the voice, and our voice at Digital Storyteller is 90% sage, right? So we like to give away the secret sauce. We want to put a ton of information out there, and we're 10% jester, right? Because we like to have fun.
Yeah.
Whereas some other companies are hero companies or caretaker companies or creatives, you know, like an Apple would be a creative, an Explorer would be like a Jeep. Like, that's amazing. And you get that. And that's another great point. Like, when companies come to us, they're like, what's my voice? Like, who
are we?
What should I do? What should I put out there? How should it read? How should it look?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it reminds me, so the reason I reached out is you're doing this really fun video segment on social, your wine reviews. Tell me about that. And is it just for fun? Or is it, there's some marketing secret behind it?
That's a great question. I'm gonna share my hidden little secret about this to the world.
All right.
Right here. So when we pivoted this business and I left my role at Coastal Payroll, which was January. And I love Coastal Payroll, great company, wonderful people there, had the best time, but it was time for us to really grow this. I said to Amanda, like, Amanda was an actress in New York, so she was on a bunch of soaps and commercials and movies, and her mom and dad are like super famous. So I was like, babe, we got to get you on camera. And she's like, absolutely not. I've done that. I'm not doing that anymore. You should go on camera and talk about something. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? She's like, I don't know. Just flare your hands like you normally do.
You are good at that.
I always do.
Is that the secret?
That's the secret. Just flaring the hands. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, I'm going to talk about something I don't know anything about because it'll be funny. And I don't know anything about wine. Although I've learned a lot about wine since that, and I was like, well, Chardonnay is like our drink of choice at Digital Storyteller for happy hour. I don't want to get confused with all the way through the night because it's just a happy hour drink. I feel very strongly that Chardonnay is a happy hour drink. So
got it.
We decided to review Chardonnays, and I did the first video. And you know when you do videos with your clients,
like,
that's good. Awkward, but weird.
Yeah, awkward. You're like,
And then I was like, I'll do it again. And then I started to find this flow where I got into a repetition of, you know, the first thing I would say is, I'm here for another Chardonnay review. And there's repeating words throughout that I just caught on to. That now when I go to the golf club, I hear shouts of Chardonnay guy and another from the other side of the golf course. So when that started to happen, I was like, you know what? There's something to this. Now, are we getting business from it? No, like not directly. But it's not about that. It's about having a laugh on the camera, creating community. People are now sending bottles of Chardonnay, so that's great for me. I get free wine.
That. If anything, that's totally worth it.
I get free wine. We talk about it on things like this. Like, it just creates conversation, and I'm a big fan of creating conversation in whatever means that it takes. And for me, it's just been a weird Chardonnay thing. And quite honestly, and here's the secret, I actually like red wine way more than white wine, but you would never know that because it's just a piece of fun. And now I have friends that are taking it so serious, like they're sending me bottles and they want to be number one. They're like, I got the bottle you're going to love. It's going to be number one. We'll bring it on. So it's a piece of fun. Does it create awareness for what we do? Sure. Does it create top of the funnel activity? Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just being authentic.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And, you know, I watch your reviews when they pop into my feed. I'm like, ooh, what's he reviewing today? And it's great. And you've inspired me. You really have. So I don't want to copy what you're doing, but maybe what could I get free samples of?
Right. People, especially you, like you could absolutely do, like, what do you love, and just start talking about it.
Yeah, I should. You know what? I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
Andrew,
you can come on and do a Chardonnay review.
oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Do a Chardonnay review, and then whatever you're doing, we'll plug that too, and we'll have a lot of fun with it.
All right, let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. Well, Andrew, this has been so much fun. I really, really appreciate you taking the time. If there's one bit of advice or tip, one thing you'd like to leave my audience with, what would you like to say?
Don't drink bad Chardonnay. That's probably
well, we all know that.
Don't drink bad wine. Life's too short. I think, my piece of advice was, from a marketing perspective, be authentic, be yourself. You're good enough, right? It's just about creating a mainframe and a plan and a strategy around your business and who you are as a person if you're an individual, and commit to that authenticity. That's so important. And there's companies like ours and yours, Reb, and other marketing companies that specialize in whatever areas and fields they're in that will help create that mainframe. But if you're not authentic, people won't pick up on it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Love it. All right, Andrew, if somebody did want to get a hold of you, what would be the best way to do that?
Send me a bottle of Chardonnay. No, just go to our website, digitalstoryteller.io. All of our contact details on there. You'll find me on LinkedIn. You'll find us on Instagram and Facebook. We're extremely active. So come and have fun. Reach out. Let's have some banter. Why not?
All right, let's do it. All right, thank
Thanks,
you.